Buenos días. Thank you for coming to Madrid to READMAGINE. So this is the panel that will try to reduce the level of anxiety that was created on the first panel, giving you maybe some solutions or thoughts to take away when you go back to your different countries or offices. But I think it was a very nice context, the first panel, because a lot of things that were mentioned, we're going to go deeper into the content that these two panelists have brought together. But I really like the idea of this distracted reader user. To me, is also very connected, as we will see now. Going from mass market to micro markets, and you will see ideas to scale the micro markets in order to make them sustainable. Because we think about micro markets as being a small revenue, but if you scale it, it could be the sum of many micro markets. It could be also a huge market, and that's something that will come with Paula. Mm-hmm. She's going to take you to many different micro markets to scale your business. And Jason is going to do it through his technology, that he's going to be able to allow you to scale your audio business from a micro market today to a mass market one. But the one I really thought it was key is this whole entertainment competition that we have out there. We compete against time. We compete what Michael was saying, you know, the attention economy. And to me, that's the key in order to look for new business models beyond what we're doing today. That, as Madeline was saying, we're doing maybe for many years, and maybe we start thinking about how we can do it differently or how we can do new things that will take our business to new places. So we have created a structure of this panel, but first I'm going to introduce both of my panelists that I really thank them for coming to Madrid. Paula, well, you're based in Madrid, yes. Although you travel a lot, like myself. Well, Paula, you can read her bio in the webpage and here on the screen. But to me, the first time I met her, she has a digital mindset, and she thinks about your content on a go-to-market way. I mean, she's been working a lot, as you can see in her bio, in many marketplaces, especially around telcos. And as we know, telcos have a mass market audience. Mm-hmm. And basically, with her knowledge, with her expertise of taking content to new places, new territories, new channels, I think she will bring a lot of light to your new business model thinking. And when I met Jason, the first thing I thought is what a lawyer is doing in the publishing sector. He has a he has a law background, and I think it's also great that we're bringing new talent outside of the traditional roles that we have usually in publishing, that is more content-oriented or more marketing-oriented, and I think it's a great idea. As I'm sorry, I didn't put his bio up there, but as you see, he's the co-founder of Sounded, and although he's now specialized in AI audio production, that legal background, I think he's going to bring a lot of light into how we protect our intellectual property in this new business landscape that we have. That's me. Actually, we're going to talk about AI quite a lot, so I asked AI to create a picture of myself whenever I will become 75 years old. So this is me. Not bad, you know, looks promising. But basically, as you know, I've been working with the publishing sector for the last 20 years, trying to help you guys understand the digital age that we're living in, especially around business models. So I'm very glad to be moderating these tables. So the structure that we have set up is quite straightforward. Both of them will have 5 minutes to do an intro about their business models and what they can put on the table for all of you guys. Then we will engage for around 20 minutes in a question and a debate among us, and then we open the floor for any questions coming from you, okay? So, Paula, yep. You go next.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Javier, for the introduction and for being here today. Hello, everyone. So, yeah, Paula from Madrid, actually, so not far from this amazing building. So, who we are a company that is called Mondia, that has presence in more than 55 countries. And we leverage that kind of like reach with different clients, mainly on the telco industry, but also on the banking industry. And what we do is we bring them, we facilitate them, the launch and the partnership with premium brands that they want to hypergrowth and scale and get a higher reach of their businesses in markets that, it's difficult to get or is not in the main plan to roll out, but they wanted to do it in a fast way. So basically, wanted to dive in one of our success stories. Okay, so this is with Gimondo. Gimondo is a German fitness app, which at the beginning, as you know, our main customers are telcos. So at the beginning, as it was natural, we launched them with Vodafone Germany and O2, which is Telefonica Germany. And we started there, and in the last 2 years and a half, we have made an increase in growth in revenues, starting from 50K to 400K up to date in this short time. How we have done this? Basically, having a huge engagement with them and opening new doors that by themselves will not have been able to. So we have launched them in A1 Austria. We have launched them in Du. Du is the biggest telecommunication company in Dubai. We have launched them in Vodacom in South Africa, and much more that they will come later on with all our expansion through other telcos. And what do we see, basically, and what they told us? Our users, the users that we bring them through our companies, are more or less 10% more engaged than the ones that they acquired directly. Okay? So basically here, the positioning of the branding of our main clients has definitely an impact on the engagement rate of those end users. What do we bring? And I think here is kind of like our key element. So basically, from a technical perspective, we'll not get too technical, but basically is one integration with us, with the company, is we expose our API, and in 1 to 2 weeks, this is done. And what we can do is deploy your solutions, your companies, in Spain through Vodafone and Orange, in Germany, Vodafone and O2, Romania with Orange, Austria in A1, South Africa with Vodacom, Congo with Vodacom, Arab Emirates with Du, and First Al Rajhi Bank, which is a quite important bank over there. Saudi Arabia the same, so with Al Rajhi Bank, Sain, STC, Mobile, Oman in Omantel, Ooredoo, Tunisia, Egypt, Kuwait, and many more, only with one integration. So this is kind of like our value proposition. I also wanted to take you through one of our success stories, which is O2 Germany. So with O2 Germany, we have launched different services, some developed by us, like gaming, and some developed by third parties with their own product and proposition. So basically, we have been adding value during these 4 last years to the existing customers, and we have made a growth of 400%, which means that we started from 6 million euros to 24 million euros in only 4 years. To continue with it, I just wanted to show you kind of like the latest version of Telco Banki that we are working in the UAE, which brings kind of like a marketplace into their main proposition. So imagine you being, I don't know, like a client of HSBC, Santander, all the banks of European international banks, and you have direct access to subscribe to a different offering directly through your bank app. So that's what we are coming here and kind of like I'm trying to explain the winning formula. So basically by integrating with us and through our revenue share model with different marketing options, we offer an ability to hyperscale for those companies that they are looking to open their businesses and open their products in different markets. And we provide that end-to-end service. So basically, we sign what we call the SPA agreement, and we sign different COAS agreements for different territories. So that's, in a nutshell, everything. I think now we will pass through the questions, but more than happy to connect in the networking and here are my contact details for further communication.
Thank you, Paula. Okay.
Thank you.
If you have seen, revenue share is going to be one of the key words being told today. And then also, as I said at the introduction, scaling micro markets. And I think integrating once and connecting to all those different markets is a good example. So now let's go with Jason. Your 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Jose Manuel, Luis, thank you for the opportunity today. So I am a co-founder of Sounded, and we are a real-time audiobook production platform, which is based in the Isle of Man. We're a small team, and we launched a B2B2C full production platform at the London Book Fair in April 2023. We have, to date, in the last 12 months, produced around 2,000 audiobooks for our clients, both self-published authors and publishing houses across multiple languages. And that equates to about 183,000 chapters of audio. We offer synthetic narration on our platform across 60 languages and 162 dialects to produce content in audio. And we also work directly with voice artists, where we license with consent their vocal characteristics to produce audio using what we term as a digital replica. And that allows us to bring in a human element back into audiobook narration. So rather than an umbrella term of AI, we're bringing more human tones back to audio. So the opportunity for the market is growing. And audio as a global business is increasing at 25% year on year. The US is principally the biggest market, closely followed by China, and then the European market as well is growing. Some of the more immature jurisdictions we're seeing as an opportunity for audio. And clients who approach us, whether it's smaller publishing houses or larger publishers, are looking at some of these market opportunities that exist for their back catalogue titles, translating the content and releasing it in audio into foreign markets. What does that mean in terms of market opportunity for publishers and self-published authors? Well, currently, that exists around 2 million printed books in the Western world, but less than 5% of those are ever turned into audio. So we currently see around 75,000 titles every year produced, and this is above the market. But below the market, there are really, really strong opportunities to grow an audio audience. The academic sector doesn't have an audience for audio right now, yet there's the demand for audio in the academic market. Also, rights that are reverted to authors, where their books are no longer in print, but they're able to regain rights from their publishing houses or agents. We see great demand for this. Recently at Sounded, we signed a number of authors who have reclaimed their rights. One author has 40 titles that they've parked exclusively with us for audio. Her name is Catherine Lanigan, and she was an author in the US that novel Romancing the Stone and Jewel of the Nile historically, and has some amazing titles that will come out exclusively with Sounded, including a new adventure series that we hope to release later this year. And so amongst the academic and rights reverted to authors, there's a really, really strong market opportunity to grow the audio sector over the next few years. So our platform that we designed is an intuitive platform. We have a number of tools that are very, very straightforward for authors and publishing houses to use. We offer a self-publishing service or a managed service as well. So in a back office, we can produce audio content rather than what is our platform that's used by self-published authors or publishing houses with a drag and drop system where you literally drag a file. We read the book, and in the background, you can decide to pick a voice to narrate the content. I mentioned AI and AI voices, and AI is a term we'll hear lots of, I'm sure, today and over the next couple of days. The market for audio and AI terms is really quite interesting. And as an industry, we advocate certain terminology, as Sounded, we advocate certain terminology around AI and audio. There's a number of subcategories that exist with this umbrella term of AI. The first one is synthetic narration, which we describe as a John Doe or a Jane Doe type voice. So it's not distinguishable to a living individual. And it's something we advocate that the industry recognizes as a synthetic narrated product. There's also a term we use as voice clone, which is typically around audio that's taken from the public domain without consent and used to create what effectively is a deep fake of a famous person or a person's voice, and then audio output used without their consent. So their voices are used to narrate something that they didn't consent to. And then the other term that we advocate is digital replicas, which is something that denotes responsibility and a licensing model that allows you to produce the audio and then also move forward with production. So what's the benefit of using services like this? Well, we have both the time saving and then also a cost saving. And I think we'll come on to some questions around those in the panel. And most importantly, one thing to remember is using platforms that are AI-based. Currently, case law in the US suggests that output from an AI system is not afforded new copyright protection. So as publishers or anybody that's engaging with systems where you're spending money for output, it's really important to recognize what are you getting as an output from those systems. That's a little bit about Sounded.
Thank you, Jason. Okay. So let's go into the analysis and debate, and let's think 5 years from now, okay? As we know, things are moving very fast, but the idea is to give you a perspective of the business opportunity lying ahead. So you basically, in the graph that you shared with us in your presentation, indicated there are 75,000 audiobooks being produced, basically in English, because it's Western world, with human voices today. In less than 1 year, I mean, actually this year, Audible has put, Kindle Direct Publishing through Amazon, they have put in place this artificial intelligence voice production, and they have produced already 50,000 audiobooks in English available in the US Audible store, US only. By the end of this year, actually, it's going to be the first time that we're going to have AI-produced audiobooks surpassing human voice audiobooks. This is something that a year ago here in READMAGINE, no one thought about it. So I think this is like a landmark. At this speed, my forecast by the end of this decade, 5 years from now, 80% of the audiobooks that we're going to be consuming will be AI produced, and around 20% will be human voice produced. That's my own prediction based on the different studies we're doing in DosDoce. So basically, AI is going to take over in terms of allowing a lot of publishers to go back to that backlist, to go back to those rights, and put them in the market, because on a human production and financial analysis, it will be unsustainable. Do you agree with this forecast, with this velocity, speed that was mentioned in the panel before? What's your thinking?
I think it's actually a scary philosophy that 80% would be AI generated or produced by audio. Richard touched upon it in the panel earlier, that the publishing industry moves almost at glacial speed. So we've seen text-to-speech systems that have existed since around 2017. And the publishing industry hasn't really engaged in those to the point where predictions like yours have suggested that might come true within the next decade. Yeah. I think there's also a reason that we engage as individuals in platforms where if we're online, we typically presented with a chatbot, but always we ask the chatbot, can we talk to customer service? And it's the human element that would be missing. And I think whilst your prediction is an interesting one, I would be hesitant to say 80%.
Okay, that's good. Actually, the data comes more from the streaming platforms. It won't be the publishers. We know they don't have the speed, and they have a legacy with a lot of narrators and studios. I think the content will be provided by actually the streaming platform. And actually, I was going to ask Paula if she has any brand, any partner, distributing today any content with AI? Do you have them in Mondia?
Yeah, actually we do. We have a partner that is Study Smarter, that they focus very much on student support, kind of like they manage the agenda, they manage kind of like the exams and so on. And what they are starting to do, and they have been for a while doing, is kind of like using AI for improving, for example, the students' answers in the exams, making suggestions to better answer and better train those students for the final exams. So yeah, definitely we are seeing that trend, and also in the gaming industry as well.
Okay, so more competition not only coming from the entertainment industry, but also maybe from outside players of the publishing industry that produce AI content to be distributed somewhere else. Okay, so in terms of this forecast, do you see any problems also with curation, promotion? I mean, we're going to have an overload of content in the markets. How do you think we're going to overcome that overload of content? Do you have any?
Yeah, I mean, on my side, I think the legal and ethical side is going to be important. So there will be inevitably copyright issues that will arise. Identifying, from a platform perspective, getting content right into the consumer's eyes and the right eyeballs as well. Those that are interested in AI narration, those that are interested in studio narration. It's going to be a really, really tough challenge, but it'd be algorithm and data-based ultimately. What is the consumer behavior and patterns, and what content do they engage with?
Interesting. Are you doing any curation, any marketing specific to this AI content, or is?
No, I mean, like internally, we are working with partners that do so, but basically in terms of like the promotion challenges that we see is that nowadays, if you go, every of us here, if you go to your bank account, you will see many of your subscriptions coming in the different paths. So what we are kind of like proposing is kind of like, bringing your telecommunication company as the heart again of your management of those subscriptions, so that then instead of having subscription in Spotify, Disney Plus, Netflix, my gym, and then the books that I buy, I have everything compiled, and I can manage everything that I'm subscribed in a single place, rather than having everything spread. So in a way of promotion, that's where we think we are helping here.
Very interesting. So we're going to have aggregators of the subscription services in order to facilitate from a consumer point of view, not only the payment, but also if I want to churn or upgrade, or maybe they make me an offer because they will bundle with something else. Very interesting. Okay. So let's go back again to AI in terms of there is an ongoing debate. Every day you wake up and you read a new article, either an entity reaching an agreement with an AI company. The last one we saw was News Corp, owners of Wall Street Journal, reaching an agreement for $250 million for a 5-year license. Doesn't include HarperCollins today. But then we have the New York Times, taking to court OpenAI from infringement. As a lawyer, why do we have these extreme positions in the media and publishing sector?
I don't think it comes down to the point that the publishing industry or media industry is against AI businesses. Really, it's about enforcement of copyright works. And ultimately, those businesses that have ingested corpus that involves copyrighted works that haven't been licensed are saying to those technology businesses, look, we want you to pay for a license because this is our copyright and it's protected by law. Other businesses are finding ways to exploit their rights, which is fantastic to see as well, because it allows growth in the market. And I think we will continue to see cases on both sides, those doing deals with AI businesses for corpus, and those additional cases that will start to appear where businesses feel that their copyright is infringed.
So going deeper into your response, we still haven't seen a big publisher reaching an agreement with AI company. Do you see that coming? And what kind of deals do you think? I mean, because the publisher, most of the publishers have a huge asset behind, their books. How do you see those deals coming through?
Yeah, I mean, as an industry, we saw recently that there was momentum behind this, probably in the last 12 months, with rumors of Meta looking to acquire Simon Schuster at some point. I think that it's inevitable. I don't know in terms of time frame, but ultimately it comes back to how do you protect the authors? How do authors sign off on the fact that their works will ultimately find their way into a training corpus? And what ultimately is that corpus being used for? Because the AI businesses, their training data you've got to look 5-6 years in advance. What they're doing today with your corpus isn't about now, it's about the 5 years down the line. So this is really, really important for anybody that I think is engaging in these types of arrangements to remember.
So whatever you sign, no more than 3 years, 5 years, because things will change quite drastically,
It's
most
gonna
likely.
change, yeah, very, very quick.
Coming soon. But do you have an idea how to calculate the value of a catalog of a publisher? Is it the volume of title? Is it the prestige of the authors? Is it the sales? I mean, because I know a lot of publishers are being knocked on the door by different players trying to reach an agreement, and some of them are willing because they see not only a new revenue stream coming into, I mean, 250 million is quite a lot of money. Do you have any idea? Have you can give them any clout or have to calculate the value of their catalog?
I think it's a really difficult question, Javier.
Okay.
But one of the things that I would say is that it's that 5-year term. What is it that somebody's looking to do with your catalog? Because the News Corp deal is really interesting. It includes all of their archives and their historic data.
Exactly.
So you've almost handed over the keys to the castle, that all of your historic publications are now finding their way into an ingestion of corpus for some training of some sort. Ultimately, will OpenAI release a news platform that's in the style of News Corp and all of its publications?
Yeah, but they don't have a license to do that. They only have a license to learn from the archive. They don't have a license to distribute it.
Not yet, but when you're learning from an archive, what is your ultimate plan for doing?
Okay. Good measure. Okay, no, good thinking. All right. So you mentioned, both of you, this metadata descriptions in terms of, helping the end user at the end understand it, that whatever they're consuming, it could be text, it could be video, it could be audio, is AI produced. Do you have a policy in Mondia in regards to making sure that your partners, your brand partners, give you content that is AI produced and that is transmitted correctly to the end user?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, through our legal department, we always make sure that the author is protected. Yeah.
Okay. And what about you? You do have also a retail platform in your business. So what do you?
That's
offer?
true. So we, on our consumer-facing platform, advocate labeling of content. So anything that is synthetically narrated, we use iconography to determine that it has been produced in that manner. So the consumer has clear identifiers that they can determine before the point of purchase. We do the same for studio content, so an icon that says content is studio produced. And then also for anything that's produced using a licensed replica, we make clear to the consumer. So iconography or labeling is something we advocate for.
And that's something you both highly recommend to publishers. Most of the publishers do it. If they put in the market AI-produced content, they clearly indicate through their metadata that that's AI content. Others don't because they fear that maybe there might be some retaliation from the narrator community. What's your stand? Do you recommend to be open and clear, or?
I would recommend to be open and clear, yes.
Okay.
From a consumer perspective, if you've purchased a piece of content and it ultimately proves to be, in terms of the production, it's lesser quality, you're going to raise a complaint to a customer service team or be disappointed with the purchase. So you're losing the engagement of the consumer at that point.
Okay. Let's talk now about a little bit about business models. Some publishers as well as streaming platforms are already engaging with B2B players like Mondia in order to reach new markets and new audiences where they're not operating today. And it will take them quite a lot of time to go to that market, open the market, create a local team, hire a local legal team, do the setup. And instead, they use vendors like Mondia in order to speed up that process, time to market. And some streaming platforms have indicated that 20% of their current revenue comes from this B2B channels in that respect. if a brand is considering distributing beyond their traditional channels, meaning streaming platforms, unit sales, and library services, and they want to add a B2B distribution channels, what will be the criteria that you recommend? What will be the key ticking points that you bring to the table?
Sure. I think what is key is understanding the content and the audience that you want to reach, of course, the content availability, the platform availability in terms of regions, and kind of like do a user segmentation that, of course, with our help, we can help you to understand in terms of like, okay, if I want to open a new businesses in Dubai, of course I need all my content to be English and Arabic, or most of the content, and then if I don't have it, maybe I need to translate it. So basically, it's kind of like understanding where I want to be, where I want to expand, and letting us kind of like guide that path of new opportunities that perhaps are not in the day-to-day of your normal business.
Okay, you mentioned during your initial presentation that 10% of the new customers that you bring to the streaming platforms or to the publishers are more engaged. Could you give us more, indication of the profile of the user that you have in your platforms?
Yeah, at the end, I think most of us, we have a telecommunication provider that we have been in a contract with probably more than a year. No, it's difficult for you to change, or you are not. You are very engaged with the telecommunication provider that you have, and you trust them, right? So basically, it's that trust and that brand positioning that is on the back, that is kind of like bringing more engagement. So that's why the users that they are subscribed to new services through that brand are definitely more engaged than the ones that they do it directly.
Okay. Also, in some conversations I had with publishers about engaging in this kind of new business models, they think that their content might be devalued because it's bundled with other content, or a streaming service is also bundled with another streaming service. What's your opinion about that argument of being part of a group of content?
Yeah. I think you need to be there. You need to be there to compete. It will not be wise to say, I'm not part of kind of like the biggest kind of like library. And I don't think it really devaluates. I think it actually brings into value. By being there doesn't mean that you need to 100% bundle, like bundle with the data and Netflix and this. Is actually you have a customer and can subscribe via the telco, or can subscribe directly through you. They might not know you exist because the market is very saturated. But by having that kind of like direct channel, it's a kind of like direct door.
So listening to you, what you're doing is bringing more visibility to the publisher or to the streaming platform by being in a marketplace that already is being, other players are there, as we mentioned before, all these entertainment players, the streaming platforms like the Netflix, the Spotify, all are there. So you're part of that mix, and then the end user will be the one that chooses if they want to hire you, or the telco pushes your service to the end user.
Yeah.
So it's a business opportunity to just being there.
So at the end, for example, myself, I was going to subscribe to Disney Plus, no, and I was okay. I can go directly, or I can go with my telco, and then find if there's like a benefit. And obviously, that's where, as an end user, you decide how you want to engage with that platform.
Okay, because usually if you hire through the telco, there is like a price benefit or a longer trial period benefit. There's always a benefit for the end user.
Yep.
Okay, very good. You talk about this, the profile, I put in before, but you had this graph before about Gikondo, and one of the things that I thought it was very interesting analyzing your graph was that the lifetime value of the customer was higher because of this relationship with the telco, because at the end the customer has the relationship with the telco, and then your service or your content comes next. So they will basically be less inclined to churn
Exactly.
than if they go direct. That's what's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what we are seeing. So less as a higher lifetime value and more engagement, less churn, and also in terms of like the graph that you can see, it's a gym app, so it has even higher sustainability. So normally, in a gym app, you will get more usability during January, February, and then summer, so that you get fit. So in our case, like our users are even more engaged than the direct users.
Okay. And also going back to your presentation, you put that map where you're present and you're operating in many countries. Can you give us any clout of which markets work best, which content works best, which language works best, in order to give some more insights to the public?
Sure, of course. I mean, like the stronger markets that we see are in Europe and in South Africa. These are kind of like the gold markets for now, but we are seeing a huge growth on the MENA markets in countries like Emirates, Arab, so all the Arab part with Dubai, for example, as well, as part of one of those cities. And then in terms of like the content, it varies, but of course everything related with entertainment and like there are the big brands, Netflix and so on, but then there's kind of like the independent, more also premium brands that they want to be there, and that's where kind of like those apps that they are specialized in podcasts, in these type of books or gym are the ones that are working very well.
One question you mentioned, you put this slide saying you connect once and you integrate once and you're connected, and you claim that is, okay, we have only 1 minute. Okay, good. And you claim it's only 1 week. Is it really true? A couple of weeks?
Yeah. So the thing here is like with your technological teams is like to be prioritized in the sprint, basically. That's kind of like what needs to be done. And once it's prioritized, it takes between 1 week and 2 weeks to have it done. So it's really the case that we are seeing.
So, sorry. So because of time, I'm just going to ask the last question to Jason. You put that map with the comparative analysis. You will get copies of the presentation, but I really like the comparative analysis that you did. And basically, if you can summarize in 1 minute, if a publisher wants to start embracing AI production, where to start, what kind of titles, what kind of volume, so they start with 10, 100, 1,000? Give them some insights.
I mean, the first thing I would say is that look at the platforms you're using and whether the output is an AI system or from an AI system, because you may not be afforded copyright protection. But outside of that, we're seeing publishers start with 10 titles, some are 100 titles, some are much in between. But they're looking at foreign language. So English translations into foreign language is very interesting in terms of market at the moment, particularly on the Spanish side as well.
Okay. And it also takes, because on the comparative analysis, I was very surprised that the time period was also very short. You were talking about producing an AI audiobook. It will take you hours, but then with the post-editing, basically it's weeks, no?
That's correct. So typically a studio narration at the moment takes anywhere upwards of 80 hours for post-production as well. Whereas with a digital production, you can get that time right down to a couple of hours with post-production.
Very good. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for your time. Both of them are going to be around this morning, and we have no time for questions. So, okay, Luis is telling me there's the coffee break that we're going to go now. But they will be around, so please ask them any questions that we were not able to have on stage. But thank you for your attention, and thank you, Paula, and thank you, Jason.